In today's session, we will discuss how to remove child support from your financial credit report. The President of the United States, uh, Biden, talked about improvements that will be made in the coming year regarding the reporting of your financial credit information using the the various credit agency. So, as you know, we have three credit bureaus for reporting your financial information. That's TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. Now, the government has put in place where annually you can get your consumer credit report from all the credit bureau. So the question becomes, can you remove child support from your credit report? The answer is yes. And in our research, you should start that now because of the coming changes regarding the reporting of financial information. Now, we'll also talk about a template in which you could use to clean up your credit report, not only for child support, but also for other discrepancies within your financial history. We did another video called Risk and Dangers on Your Credit Score. Take a moment and review that video. Also, we will review a report that was put out on January 2022 from the director of the CFPB, that's the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, that oversees the credit bureau. And that report was put out by Rohit Chopra, which is the director of the program. Hello, my name is Chris. And in this session, we're going to talk about how to remove child support information from your credit report and the impact it has on your financial life. As always, our series of education, we ask for a small donation. Again, $5 in a Cash App is fine for us. We ask for $25, but again, any amount is available. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email us. It may take us a while to get to all the emails, but eventually we will. So let's start off with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. That is, it was created in Congress in 1970, and that is to promote what is called a system to protect the consumer privacy and their financial life. And the agency was built on the premise that it should report what is called the possible accuracy regarding your credit. We'll also discuss a lawsuit, the Miller lawsuit, and how that impacts your credit and the child support system. As you know, it's been promoted by the agency that you should check your credit report at least once a year. It's a good way to keep track of it, and you do get a free report. Now, this is very important. When you Google for your annual report, there are many advertising, there are many sites that appears on the first page. But in short, in order to get your free credit report, go to the site called the annualcreditreport.com. That is HTTPS, theannualcreditreport.com. Now, there are many ways in which you measure what is called your financial stability and reporting, called the FICO score. There are other advantages as well, but in this session, we'll just focus primarily on FICO score because that's what most agencies in which you seek credit from, they use, whether it's for education, a home, a credit card, or a car note. So let's look at the example of how they measure your score under the FICO score program. So if you have anywhere from 300 to 499 points, you have very poor credit. And what that translates in, you won't get the best rate possible in case you seek, credit or a loan. Now, the best is over 700. That is anywhere from 780 to 850. That's called excellent. Now, it ranges in between there, and this chart shows where you fall within the FICO score system. And yes, there are other measurements, but we're just going to talk about the FICO score. We may do another video on the other types of measurements, such as Advantage, but let's just stay with the FICO score for now. So let's start off with the child support and the regulations surrounding reporting to the credit bureaus. It's 42 USC section 666. Yes, I've heard the stories, the mark of the beast, but let's just focus on the information. In section 7, it's called reporting arrears to the credit bureau. And out of that stands out this segment. It's segment I that says, after the parents has been afforded all due process required under state law, including notices and a reasonable opportunity to contest the accuracy of the information. As you know, in child support, they don't verify any of the information. They just send information to the credit bureau. Many of it is inaccurate. They don't follow any rules, but I just wanted to point out that there is a section in the statute for due process. So within the credit bureau statute, it's 15 USC 1681A. This is where they define the process for child support in terms of overdue payments, as well as the governance for that. What's the governance? Well, you can use the state rules in which to govern the reporting. Even though child support is a federal program or federal combination state program, they use the state guidelines in order for the credit reporting. So 28 USC code 3002, here's the definition for debtor. It means a person who is liable for a debt against whom there's a claim for debt. And also in section 7, they talk about the definition for garnishment. And then garnishment should be done under a court order. Again, the garnishment process should be done under a court order. So those are the regulations and the codes. But let's go to the Supreme Court and find out what do they say what child support is in terms of a debt management or the financial program. Well, in a decision called United States versus Sage 92 F3 at 106, the Second Circuit says child support agreements are equivalent to interstate contracts and rejecting the idea that child support payment obligations are somehow different. What are they saying? Well, I read you the definition, what a debtor is and what a garnishee in the definition. Does this fit the definition of what the Supreme Court says that child support is a contract? It's a contract. So let's look into it further. As you know, and I say this repeatedly from time to time, men are enrolled in the child support program based on this statute, 45 CFR 264.30. And basically, as it says, the state shall refer all appropriate individuals in the family of a child for whom paternity has not been established or paternity should be established. Well, here's a quick question. Can you actually do a paternity test on women? No, women are not included in the statute. So why are we doing this? Why are we doing this segment on your credit report? Well, the bottom line is this. This is your credit information. Whether you want to pay attention to it or not, the agency is doing a lot of damage to your credit information. They are destroying your credit. And it is up to you. You are free to decide whether or not you want to remove the child support information from your credit report. So let's continue. As you know, we broadcast our information as well as on your favorite podcast, Spotify, Apple, and Google. So let's start off with the CFB. The CFB put out a report, which is the Consumer Financial Bureau, where it details some of the responses from the big three credit agency. Yes, there are other credit agencies, but the big three, as we said, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. This report was put out January 2020. So let's look at some of the highlights from this report from the director. One of the things they discovered with the big three is that in 2019, they reported that they responded to relief, which is to correct your credit report, was 25%. Dial forward in 2021, They now report that less than 2% of those complaints are covered. What do they mean by that? You reach out to the credit and he says, I want to correct either the child support or your credit card or just anything. What has been the response? It went from 25% to 2%. Now, during the same time, the whole world was in the COVID crisis. So that has a factor on it as well. So that leaves at less than 2%. But here's what was discovered further with these three agencies. As you know, a consumer can authorize a third party in which to do a dispute or complaint on their behalf. So you have the major credit monitoring agencies, and you know who they are. And you also have the repair representative from, reputable companies or local companies. But also you have YouTubers that, advertise that they can help you with the credit report. What was discovered? It didn't matter who did this. It still resulted in 2%. So if you reached out to a YouTuber and said he could fix your credit report, but you weren't satisfied with the results, it was not their fault. You paid a credit monitoring company a couple of $100 to do this. It is not their fault. Or you hired an attorney to do this for you, doing a bankruptcy, same result. 2%. They dropped. In other words, the three companies were basically ignoring disputes. So the CFPB looked into it themselves. Again, they're the reporting arm for the agency. And they decided, you know what, let us go into and take a look at what was actually happening. And so they sent out inquiries to the big three. And what they found was the results were identical to what was happening that happened to them. Now remember, they are the governing body, and what did they discover? Well, for Equifax, they were promised to open investigation into the repair of a credit, but they don't really have a process for doing it, and they really don't care. Next, they looked at TransUnion. Well, TransUnion says, well, the reason why we did not, follow through with the complaints is because they were done by a third party. And Experian said the same thing. Well, we can start some of the action, but we noticed that they were coming from a third party. Now, the law is very clear. A third party can help you repair your credit, whether it's a friend, a YouTuber, a credit repair expert, or even the big, credit monitoring. The results were the same. So the CFPB said, wait a minute. It didn't matter who started the process. The results are the same. So let's look at disputing your credit report. Now, knowing the problem from the report that they're not looking into it, should you give up? No, you should not. You should try to remove bad information on your credit report. So disputing what is called your credit report. You have the right under federal law to ask a debt collector to submit proof that you owe a debt. Now, this is federal law now. As you know, the Supremacy Clause, federal law rules everything. So even if the state had a guidelines for repairing your credit, it still falls under the CFPB under federal law. The debtor, once you reach them, they have 30 days in which to at least address the problem and it must be done in writing. Now, as we review, they're only, acting upon less than 2%. And over the next several years, as the government gets involved and CFP gets involved, they will improve that. Next, if you do your request by phone, your rights are not protected. In other words, as you know, talking, excessive talking, and complaining is nothing more than hearsay. And under the federal rules, it's the same thing. If you want action on your credit dispute, it has to be done in writing and preferably using certified mail. So whether it's you're using your 611 report or any of the other strategies, you must do it by mail. Now, once you send the debt validation letter and the collection, they should be stop reporting on that item or temporarily remove the item on your credit report until the investigation is complete. So here is a sample of a template that's used to contact the agencies to inquire about. And we will give you or provide you information to access this report, but it's a standard letter and there's nothing wrong with it, whether you use it or the major, like I said, repair agency use it, it's the same letter. There's nothing wrong with it. It's the same form letter. But this is a template, a sample template. And again, we'll give you information about how to download and use this template. Now, once you've gone through and get your annual report, you've done your dispute letter, now you're not getting results. So the CFPB says, now you can submit a complaint. Now, here's where the caution. You must do the research at the credit agencies first and have documented paper trail, certified mail, your affidavits, everything to prove that you attempted to correct it, but it was resistant. And the CFPB sets up this website, and their official website, that you can now submit a complaint that you've exhausted your remedy and still no result. So here's another section of the website where it says submit a complaint. Maybe I'll do a video that walks you through most of this, but for now, this is where you submit all of your evidence, all your details of you removing or attempted to remove information from your credit report, in addition to the child support from your credit report. Now, this is a case law called Miller versus Experian. This is one of many case laws that talks about the process of why child support shall be removed from your credit report. And we'll provide you access to this report, this lawsuit. But this is where it starts. There are several lawsuits that prove that you can remove child support from your credit. And we put all of that in what is called our masterclass. Visit our masterclass at childsupport.newzenler.com. Now, again, you don't have to do this. There's no requirement, but child support is affecting your credit report, and you have the option and the ability to remove that. This discussion regarding the removal of the credit report is not something that can be done in 10 minutes, 20 minutes. It does take time. It does take information. And we put all of that on our website called childsupport.newzenler.com. If you have any questions on this video or any of the video that we produce or any of the material that we produce, please feel free to reach us at chrish289@protonmail.com. As well as we ask, please subscribe to this channel and please forward our information. Have other people subscribe to our channel and ring the notification bell. Let's send this information. There are millions of men who are on the child support program whose credit report is affected by child support for their financial future. And there is a process in which to remove that. So here we are at the end. Thank you again. And whether you want to remove the child support from your credit report or not, that's entirely up to you. But there is a way to do it. And yes, it can be taken off your report. Thank you. Have a good day.